FC this week as well.
G'day, Tiger fans. JB, just don't you try and steal my thunder there, JB. This is my job introing the show. Welcome to Talking Tigers, Richmond's live official podcast. Well, it didn't turn out as we would have liked over in the city of churches, but gee, the Crows are a really, really good team. Can't wait for Etihad Saturday night when we will bounce back against the mighty Doggies. Another big show today with all your regular segments, of course. Greenus has told me he has a huge Spirit of 67 today. I can't wait to hear that. I think it might involve our old mate Bugsy Barrett. And I'm going to reveal some massive news. I don't even know if you guys know, but there is some massive news about our old mate AC. I'll get into that a little bit later on.
Wow.
You are not going to believe it. It adds a real twist to Saturday night. Greeners, JB, welcome.
Yes, welcome, Richo. JB, yeah.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Yeah, no, good.
Sorry about that. I just had a thought.
Yeah, you're just trying to steal my...
Yeah, and I did.
Oh, it's all about me, this show. Don't forget
as
that.
usual.
Song, I'm not sure.
Don't you know the song?
What's the link?
Oh, it's a stretch, but there
Right.
is a link, and it's pretty topical today.
Yeah.
That song is Burning Heart by
Right.
Survivor.
Survivor had Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah,
Is that right? The
Survivor,
same one?
yeah, same
I'm
band.
familiar
And
with
this
that.
band made a real living out of doing the songs for the
Right.
Rocky soundtracks. That's out of Rocky 4. Okay, Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Where, of course, Rocky takes on Adrian takes on the Russian Ivan Drago. See the link now?
I see the link.
You see it, don't
Except they're not Russian.
No, they're not Russian. But they are Ivans, and
Oh, I see. Right.
they are going to
Gotcha.
be in high demand
Whoa.
Saturday night. Can I just get
Yes,
something
please,
else up? Hashtag
please.
Talking Tigers. Get involved with the show or email us, talkingtigers@richmondfc.com.au. But one of those Ivans has to play Saturday night, Greeners.
So Maric or Soldo
That's
will
the
come
debate,
in,
isn't
given
it?
that Toby Nankervis, which we'll get to a bit later,
Yeah.
is obviously missing a week.
Yeah. What's happening there, Scones? I'm just hearing something in my ear. It's all good.
All good.
Got some gremlins
Well, which
here
one?
today.
Well, which one will it be? Go on. Which one will you go with?
I think we'll ask Louis how they performed on
Yes.
Saturday, but I think they'll go with Marriage. I would say. Yeah. What do you think?
Not sure, really.
Not sure.
Right. I'll go the other way. I reckon.
You reckon
it's
Soldo?
time?
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
not. I don't know. But
Actually, give
Why
him a
not?
game. Get one under his belt before then he just, might be able to then give Big Nanker a chop out the following week
know,
or something.
we
so-
will have to speak to Lou about it because
Yeah.
I didn't see the reserves game. But
It's not out of the realms of possibility that they might both have to come in,
Both play.
because I think we're lacking a little bit of height down the line, aren't we?
Yeah,
at the
there's no
moment?
doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that was a
Todd Elton
leering
didn't play.
factor on Sunday evening. There's no doubt about that.
So when would they have to do the paperwork if Soldo was?
They could do that Thursday. That's not a problem. That's been done before. Players have been upgraded on the Thursday and then selected in the side for that round.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. So it's a couple of more days, and I'm sure that they are giving it plenty of thought which way they go with it. So
What did you make of the game,
Oh,
lads?
it
You were
was,
over there, JB.
how was it, JB? Must have
I mean, the start was it was a good start the first quarter.
It's a
but
great start.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dimmer said leading into the game we didn't want it to be a shootout, and
That was the
when
worry,
Adelaide
wasn't
had an answer for everything that we were doing, and then eventually they got on top and they put the foot down and didn't stop. So I mean, I think that the Douglas soccer goal just before quarter time probably took a bit of air out of it, but from then they were just a well drilled team running off half back,
they're
hitting
a super team. They won't get
red
beaten.
targets.
hot.
They won't be beaten in Adelaide this year, but that was the worry, wasn't it? The high scoring early, you just thought, gee, is this sustainable, a shootout with them, because they're an unbelievable attack. But
Not sure they can play any better than that.
no, they're
Adelaide.
playing really well.
Not sure they can play.
But
any better.
we were at the contested ball. We were in front at quarter time. That's our game. That's what we have to be good at.
I know. Yeah.
And get it moving forward.
And look, I mean, it was. If you take the positive out of it, it's a valuable lesson to learn about how hard you have to work.
That's
how
right.
hard you have to work to be successful.
As the tale said on Talking Tigers, we showed in the first quarter that we can compete with the best, but the challenge now is to do it over 4 quarters.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
I mean, that's the same with every team who's successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
And
doubt.
Adelaide showed on Sunday night that
Yeah.
that the pressure we'd been putting on in the first 5 weeks is probably we've got to go to the next level.
Oh, that's right. And you use it as a learning tool, and hopefully you can put into place, get that intensity level up over the 4 quarters playing against obviously a very, very good side in the Dogs, reigning premiers on Saturday night. So you just like to see that we will bounce back and play the way we're playing in the first 5 weeks and 1 quarter. So hopefully that'll be the case.
I've got a theory that I would throw forward if I was at match committee.
Yes.
I would play David Asprey forward this week.
Yes, I would not disagree with that.
Because the Bulldogs aren't a tall forward line. I think Cloak will still be out.
Yep.
And they're a short forward line. Tom Boyd had to play in the ruck on the weekend on Friday night, and Stringer's their biggest forward. So structurally, you could probably do it this week.
Well, you could. What
do you
Dave
think?
gives you, I agree
He can
with
take
that.
a good mark,
He takes
though.
a good mark.
Very
He's
good
very,
mark.
very good overhead, and he started off here as a forward. He played junior footy as a forward too.
Yeah.
So
he was
I
recruited
think-
as a forward.
Yeah, he was, and I think that it's not a bad idea, and it frees him up a bit. And I think, it just gives you a bit of a target, and would certainly help in that regard, and then could bring the ball to the ground as well with a bigger body, which would help our small forwards too, which was probably what was lacking. On Saturday night, Sunday night, just didn't have that extra big body there that would then help the small forwards.
Yeah.
Christmas Smithers has picked that up on Twitter, saying the lack of tall probably won't disadvantage us too much this weekend. So if you can put Dave forward and give the
It might
contest
work
down the line,
against
it might
Dogs.
work.
So the other thing, I mean, not the first club that's had this problem with their big man. Obviously, Melbourne went through it, and Melbourne had to be a bit inventive, and they obviously brought in Pedersen, and he was extremely good for him against Essendon.
Yeah.
So
You can do it. You just got to be.
And look, thankfully we only have to do it for 1 week and then get Nankervis back, and we'll get to that a bit later too.
You want to talk about another key position player?
Well, just had a look. First opportunity I had to have a really good look at the VFL, obviously team, because it was televised the game against Port on Saturday on 7, and a good look at Ryan Garthwaite, because there've been some big raps on him. And
what did you think?
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Really, really
So
impressed.
you're suggesting you think he may play soon?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if he got an opportunity
Right.
in the next few weeks. I think he just reads the game really well. He's just a real competitor, hard at it. Played a bit forward and then went back, but just reads it well and took some really good intercept marks. And just like the way he's got a very awkward kicking style, but it's effective. He gets some good distance with it too. So I just like the way that he attacks the footy and just the competitive nature. So I wouldn't be surprised. And he's got a big enough body that would be able to cope with AFL football. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. I just like what I saw from him.
All right.
One to watch.
Keep an eye out on that.
I nearly went with him in the yellow and black booker, but I just
didn't?
No,
Hey, now, Tone,
Yeah.
this is just...
it's out of control.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
I
'Cause you've
do.
got the run sheet there.
Oh, I
so
do
you
know
what
what
I'm
you're
going to say.
The
The deliberate out of bounds,
It's farcical.
it is a joke. You reckon it should be last touch?
if you get, it needs to be not last touch, but last kick.
Last kick.
So if the last kick just goes out, then you give a free kick.
So it's black or white?
So then it is completely clear that that's the way it is, because now the interpretation is ridiculous. Blokes are getting pinged when it's just going at right angles, or they're getting tackled as the game.
The
that you
Jake
had.
Stringer one
It was
Friday night. He's in the
crazy.
middle of the ground.
Crazy stuff.
He's won it in the middle of the ground. What do you think he'd want to do with it? He'd want to put it into his forward line, wouldn't he?
Yep.
He was in the middle of
That's
the ground.
right. So he was tackled and then the ball
ball
went out.
went
So
sideways.
just take out any interpretation from it. If it's kicked out, that's it, and everyone knows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it last touch because that's too difficult and too much of a grey area there with that.
Yeah.
But for the kicks, just do that, because if you're going to have this, you might as well have that.
It's evolved into something it
No.
wasn't meant to be at the start of this rule. So
that at least alleviates any doubt about it, and you can move on.
now I've got some big news. I could almost slot this into club news. It's that big, but it's hard.
Hang on.
You don't want to be big.
There's plenty of space for it.
I was walking. I was walking around Manuka Oval, or whatever they call it, University of Canberra Oval, on Friday night before the game, and I heard someone yell out, "Richo!" And I turned around and I saw a man standing in official club gear, Western Bulldogs club gear.
Yeah.
And you know who it was?
Oh,
Our man AC.
What?
Our man AC has
what?
left the Melbourne Victory.
in
was there about-
grand final week.
In
too, for
grand
the big
final
in the
week.
grand final this weekend.
They are.
He has walked out on Melbourne Victory,
Oh,
and he is
no.
working at the Western Bulldogs.
At the Dogs.
Yep.
Oh, this
He
is
is at the Western
unbelievable.
Bulldogs.
And what's he
AC.
doing? What's he doing? Is he a trainer? Is he a trainer?
No, he's not a trainer.
What's he doing?
He's not a water boy. He is the head of the media department there at the Western Bulldogs. Yeah.
What?
He is.
But going to the Victory was his dream job.
Yeah, but you know what? He felt...
Had to work too hard.
No, he just felt like he was back in the pack at Melbourne
Really?
Victory. At Richmond he felt special because he was the only person who ate marinated...
Artichokes.
Marinated artichokes.
That's easy for you to say.
But he got over to Victory and that was just what everyone ate over there. So he... so he didn't feel wanted.
Really?
So he's gone to the Bulldogs.
So how long's he been there?
A few weeks, I think.
So basically what you're saying is that Saturday night it's for the AC Cup.
The AC Cup.
The AC
Yeah,
Cup.
yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, there you
Jeez.
go.
That's extraordinary.
Oh boy, straight into it.
Yeah.
We got an email during the week. This is from Chris Gibbons.
Yeah.
Gibbo.
Yep. In reference to an introduction a couple of weeks ago, my wife Yulia and I were invited to attend the first Anzac Day service in Kiev by the new Australian Embassy in Ukraine. We made the trip from Zaporozhye overnight.
Zaporozhye.
Watched the Tigers versus Demons when we arrived in Kiev, then off to the service the next morning on a high.
Magnificent.
So that was from Chris Gibbons. So thanks for that.
Johnny P's here today again.
Good, Johnny. Good to
see you,
see Johnny.
And we had a few tweets in during the week.
People dropped off already, have they? Is that what you say?
Come on.
Last week they were at an all-time high, I reckon.
It was, yeah.
We'll go with Manfred. A lot of people just on the same topic talking about how we need to bounce back, and I think this week against the Dogs will be a true test of where we're at. Redhead saying, stand up, brush yourself off and move on to this week. Manfred's also brought to our attention that SEN's afternoon show are starting a new Richmond podcast.
What?
Called Tiger Tragics, coming soon.
Who's on it?
On SEN.
Not too sure.
Who's on it?
But if you want tragic and you want tigers, this is the place to be.
This is it here.
And one for you, Richo. This
You're not moonlighting there, are you?
No.
No, not
3AW.
Of course. Yeah.
That's from Brock Solid
Massive
saying, how
con,
much effect did no second tall have on the game last week?
I think it's going to have a massive effect moving forward. We're really lacking that second key forward at the moment. Yeah, it is hurting. I think it did hurt on the weekend. Their half-back line took full control of the game. So, look, we do need, obviously Griff's gone down, and with Hampson being injured, it's just really thrown things around with our key position. That's why we were talking about the marriages before. But, it is hurting. It is hurting.
You mean the Ivans, not the Marriages?
Or the Marriages and the Soldos. The Ivans.
Right. Yeah.
And we got some feedback for you, Greeners, from Colin saying the Gags were top shelf last week.
They were pretty good, yeah. Well, there might be a bit of a letdown today.
Okay.
Why?
No, they'll be right. There's a couple of good ones there.
And then a couple from Lou here, for Lou.
Lou?
Yeah, just saying it was nice to meet him at the VFL. That's from Melrose and Tiger Lynn.
Oh.
So
he's getting out and about, isn't he? Hey? I hope he doesn't get too far ahead of himself like Manfred.
I think he might.
Oh, no.
Manfred's out of control.
Oh, we've created a monster.
He's an egomaniac, Manfred.
He is.
Well, speaking of out of control and egomaniacs.
Oh, jeez.
Good segue.
Uh-oh.
He's taking over this show, JB.
Right from the start he did.
The Chief. He's been stalked.
Stalked?
He's been stalked.
What do you mean?
The paparazzi.
The Papazzari.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did see
The Herald Sun have stalked our man, the Chief. For those who didn't see it, there was a photo of Brendan at the traffic lights just over here.
Yeah. Fortunately, he wasn't eating a pie like
No, he wasn't eating a pie, but he didn't know the photo was being taken. Wayne Ludby from the Herald Sun.
What?
Yeah, took a photo of Brendan,
Was
paparazzi
it for the
style.
social pages or what?
No, it just appeared online.
Okay.
It's the Brendan, the Chief Gale, on his phone at the lights over here. And what you would have noticed about the photo, sorry, I just whacked the table. What you would have noticed about the photo is the Chief has employed his own dictationist. Did you see that? When he walks around Richmond now on the phone, he has someone there just taking notes of everything he's saying because his brain is working overtime as to how he can get himself into the news. This is what he was talking about. Now, I spoke to Ludby, Wayne Ludby from the Herald Sun.
Yeah.
I said, what happened? Now, you know these reality stars like the Kardashians and these type of people?
Yeah,
they love, that's what they're about.
They phone ahead.
They do phone ahead.
They do.
I'm about to step out and buy a bottle of milk. Or,
That's what they do. Now, I said to Wayne, the photographer from the Herald Sun, I said, why were you stalking our man, Brendan Gale? He said, no. His PA, Nikki, actually rang the Herald Sun and tipped the Herald Sun off as
that
to
he's
where
about
the
to beat
Chief...
the traffic lights.
Yeah, and could you please take a photo of him?
With his dictation.
Do us a favour. We'll do the Herald Sun a favour with a little article down the track for maybe on Dusty Martin or whatever. But you've got to put the chief in the paper. He wants to be papped. So Brendan actually tipped them off.
So Wayne Ludby had to drop everything
and go and take a photo.
And he is just about their number one man.
He is the number one man.
Wow.
So Brendan Gale tipped off the Herald Sun that he wanted to be papped, and Brendan, that's an absolute egomaniac type of thing to do.
Got some other chief news later too.
Oh, have you?
Mm.
He got papped. Do you want to go? Or
Well,
do you
start off and I'll join in.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off. Toby Nankervis, all right. 1 week suspension. What was the difference between his and Nat Fyfe?
Well, please tell me, because I have no idea.
Why didn't Nat Fyfe get a week?
He got actually two down to one. He got two down to one.
And Nat Fyfe got a $1,500 fine.
Got a fine.
What was the difference?
Oh, please explain.
I had a look.
Tell me.
I had a look at them both.
No idea.
Scon's got them up on his computer before. There's no difference.
I am outraged.
Both of them threw an elbow back to brush off someone who was annoying them.
Michael Gleeson in The Age has just explained it in full detail, gone through the fine point of the whole thing.
There's no difference.
There is no difference.
And Michael Gleeson...
And you can't actually say low impact when you thrust back like that with your elbow. It can't be deemed as low impact,
and Michael
apparently.
Gleeson, highly respected.
Of course.
And wouldn't write that if he didn't think it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I am totally bemused, befuddled, and
ridiculous. If Fyfe gets a week as well, that's fine.
Oh, it's just absolutely preposterous.
It's just inconsistent for mine.
No, but there is one bloke that's pretty happy with it.
Who?
Well, the chief.
Oh, of course. He wanted to appeal it and get 2 weeks for Toby, didn't he?
He's very happy that Tobe's the number 25, most famous number 25, Tasmanian ruckman, just puts him out for a week.
Yeah.
It's just keeps Brendan in the forefront of
just didn't seem right for mine. They look the same.
It's crazy.
So I'm mad.
Yeah, fair enough too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Was the AC News big enough to make this segment?
Oh, it's already gone.
Yeah,
twice already in the show.
Now listen carefully through this segment.
So this week we're going to launch the Richmond Dreamtime Guernsey. I mentioned last week about the Dreamtime membership.
Yes.
The actual Guernsey will be launched.
Have you had a look at it?
I have.
Is it good?
It's very good.
Oh, good.
Very it's our darker strip this year. The traditional black and yellow and black strip. So it'll be a take on that.
Right.
So watch out for that in the next couple of days on richmondfc.com.au and shop richmondfc.com.au websites. You even listening there, Richo?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's on his phone. I was just about to
some
say.
other business.
Gigs. He's organising a few gigs.
This is the club news. VFL curtain raiser this week before the game. We played the Bulldogs at Etihad, and we'll play Richmond VFL. Will play Footscray at Etihad this Saturday afternoon from 3:30 p.m. We'll chat to Lou about it. He's got all the gate opening times. So it's a pretty big game because it's third versus fourth on the VFL ladder, both at 2 and 1.
An 8-point game.
Early on, potentially.
Yeah.
Membership's at 68, 436. Preemptive strike there.
Just about to ask.
And the injury list, Shane Edwards is down to 1 to 2 weeks now with his hip.
Certainly do with him back.
And Jacob Townsend copped a poke in the eye in the VFL game, and he's out for 1 to 2 weeks. Not able to train because there's a bit of bleeding on it. Everything else is as it was last week.
Yeah. So, okay, fair enough.
We finished now? Is that it?
All done.
That's it.
All done.
All
Richard.
right, there you go.
It just brings a bit of serenity,
doesn't it?
To the madness.
It's almost like meditating.
It is a little bit of meditation.
Actually, the Adelaide Crows do a lot of meditation.
Really?
The whole club does it.
Yeah,
the whole club.
Yes.
What, do they hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
No, you couldn't. I'm trying to be serious.
Yeah, go on.
I'm just suggesting
that we do it.
That there might be something in meditation.
Why don't we do it here?
All three.
Yeah. Hold hands and meditate.
I'm telling you, it's had a big role to play in how they're going.
Yeah, I reckon some meditation would be good. Anyway, I'm going this week, given that we're playing for the AC Cup, on which I didn't know about till just 5 minutes ago.
The Adrian Sadia Cup.
Yeah. I'm going with my top 10 Bulldog Tigers over the journey that I've seen, over the last 50 years or so.
Yeah. There's been a lot of
and again, I'm just not going with that idea of building up. I'm just going in alphabetical order because it's just too hard to do together. Just want to simplify.
I would have Robbie McGee number 1.
Would you? You wouldn't have your good mate Nathan Brown?
Oh, he'd be there.
I've got him in... Actually, he shouldn't be there. Patrick Bowden should be O before R. Yeah. So Patrick Bowden, number 1, who came here and had 50 games at the Dogs and then came here and was a handy player for a year or so. Yeah. He had a really good season, a lot of marks and everything. Nathan Brown, number 2, of course. We never did get... Well, we did for 10 rounds of that 2005 season, we saw the best of him. He was in unbelievable form, and then had the tragic broken leg. Number 3, I've got Chris Burton. Now, Chris Burton plays... it was born in England, so nicknamed Pommy Burton. Very good player at Footscray as it was, and then came here and was a really reliable back pocket player. Yep. Number 4, well, the coach of GWS now, Leon Cameron. What a player. Tell me, how good a player was he,
Leon, very, very good player. Top
was he a left footer or a right footer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
He was a super kid.
I think he was just either.
Yeah.
Just depended.
Even from kickouts, he would go either way.
So he'd won
See, that's a true ambidextrous, isn't it? If you can go from full back.
To be honest, I'd give my right arm to be ambidextrous, but that's another story. But he had won a best and fairest at the Bulldogs before coming here, and was a top player here for 4 years. Big player in the 2001 final series.
A great teacher too, out on the ground, and that's why he's now a good coach.
Yep, absolutely. Number 5, Dennis Collins. Now, I heard you talking about Robbie Muir the other day.
Mad Dog Muir.
Well, Dennis Collins was in that vision.
Yeah, he was the man at
He was the man. So he was at Carlton and then Footscray, as it was, and then came to Richmond.
How many games here, Dennis?
Well, he only played a season, but he was actually emergency for the 1980 grand final, Dennis Collins. So really good player, quick wingman, just skillful and everything.
I thought Daryl Frame was emergency.
Well, you can have more than one emergency, can't you?
Do we? Oh, yeah. I suppose you can. I've never seen Collins' name as an emergency.
Oh, I might have made that up.
I think you did.
He was in line. He was in line. He was very close. He was an emergency in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, the new board member, of course, the great Emma Dunn.
Yes.
Now, Plod, obviously, 1980 premiership player. Then went to the Dogs, had a couple of years playing at the Dogs when his good mate Mickey Malthouse went there, and was playing coach then after that of their reserves for a couple of years.
That's right.
Now, number 7, I had to put him in because you're a very good mate, Benny Harrison. Harrow has to go in. So he 74 games here and was a really valuable player here, wasn't he?
Came fourth in a BNF.
Yeah, and then 85 games at the Dogs and was probably even a better player at the Dogs.
I think he thinks he played his best footy at the Dogs.
But he was pretty handy here. Number 8, I got Robbie McGee. Robbie McGee was Tottenham Tech. They don't come much more Footscray than that, as it was. So Toddy Tech, and then played a few games with the Dogs, and then we got him over here and became a star here. A really important player of 2 premierships, 1973-74 at centre-half back. Number 9 was former Footscray captain, super player, David Thorpe.
Yes.
One of the first players to wear coloured boots, wore red boots here, came here, played in the centre in the 74.
Then went down to Tassie.
Played in the 74 premiership side here and went to Tassie and was a hotelier down there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had a sports store as well, I reckon.
Okay, yep. Yeah. And number 10, I had to put him in too because I had to put Wiggers in. Stewie Wigney was obviously at Footscray and then came here and was an important player in our 95 final series, played in all those 3 finals. So
in fact, I had to overcome a broken ankle that year. Yep. In round 9, he broke his ankle.
Very important player that year in 95. So there you go. The top
good
10.
runner, Wiggers.
Tigers.
For a big man, he used to be able to run off half back really well.
Runs a good hotel too, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a new hotel in Leongatha with
is that right?
Jared Roughhead.
Is that right?
And Buff Lehman.
Okay, because that's his hometown,
That's his hometown.
Leongatha,
there you go. That's a good little list.
All right.
Oh, well, VFL time.
You're looking good. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are. To let the best of them together.
Yes, here he is. Louis, how are you, mate?
Oh, not bad, Richo. Not bad at all. I mean, pretty good considering coming off a week of feeling a bit under the weather, then copping the VFL and AFL losses twice in the one weekend. It's been a bit of a battle, but I've pulled through and I'm actually in the studio today.
Gutsy effort.
I'm pretty proud of my efforts here.
No, it's a
I've
strong
never
and bold
known anyone to get crook more than you, Greenus, but we have a new clubhouse.
You might just be a fair bit younger than me too.
Yeah, I know. It's
Just
a
a
worry.
couple of years.
It's a worry moving forward. It was a 1-2 punch combination on the weekend, wasn't it? The VFL didn't quite get the job done either against Port Melbourne down at Port.
Yeah, not quite. It was a 30-point loss for us in the end. And, quite similar to the AFL game, our first quarter was really, really solid. We were looking good, but just didn't quite have that run to match Port Melbourne for the rest of the game. So something that really stood out, Port Melbourne just had us all over the contest, is something that they really do put their focus on. And speaking of Fly after the game, Craig McRae, he really did put a bit of emphasis on the fact that Port Melbourne were just a little too good around the contest and that maybe it's an area for improvement for us.
There it is.
Yeah, I thought we're in the game thinking we wanted to get some respect in the competition against some really quality opposition on stage in front of our fans on TV, and we had moments of that. But we, credit to the opposition, I think that pressure around the ball was really strong, and at times we handled that, sometimes we didn't. lot of things that we can improve. Our contest stuff is a real area for improvement for us.
Now, Lou, we mentioned him off the top of the show, but Ryan Garthwaite, I watched the games. First time I had a really good look at him, and I know he's got that very awkward kicking style, but I really like the way he went about it. And I know he spent a bit of time up forward too, but then went back and...
Yeah, he did. So he was floating up forward for a bit just to kind of get that big body presence in there to see if he could bring the ball to ground and let our small forwards do the work, guys like Shea Bolton and Tyson Stengel. But as we've seen in the past couple of rounds, his best stuff did come when he was playing as a defender. Went back, had the 8 marks, 3 tackles, 4 spoils. He's just a great presence to have back there. We've found that he's really good working in tandem with a few of our other defenders, like our skipper, Sam Darley, Hugh Beasley as well, our vice-captain too. So another really promising showing from him, and it was fantastic that everyone got a chance to see him on TV and see what a great player he is.
I wasn't fortunate enough to watch the game. Being over in South Australia, they didn't have it showing there. But
Surprised by that.
One that we, I guess, want to hear how he's going and putting his name up is Anthony Myers. How did he go?
Yeah,
back in the twos.
Yeah, another impressive game from him. As we always talk about, contested ball is just his bread and butter, and it was another great game from him. Something that really stood out to me, though, is actually had 9 marks running through the middle as well. So it's actually a nice little additive to his game there, I thought, as well. 9 inside 50, 6 clearances, and he nabbed 1 goal on the final siren as well. So did get involved in the contest, but they just had a good lock on our midfield, unfortunately, Port Melbourne, and even though he had a great game, just didn't quite have that influence enough to turn it around.
Now, Louis, we were chatting off the top about the situation we're in this week with Nankervis out suspended. The 2 Ivans, how did they go? Because one of them is clearly going to play this week.
Yeah, that's right. So Ivan Maric, I thought, was really solid. He led hit-outs for the day with his 36, 15 disposals as well, found a bit of the footy, 5 marks, 3 clearances as well. So I thought, obviously, a guy, we're pretty familiar with and we know his style. He played really well. Soldo spent most of his time up forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, Marriage seemed to ruck for most of the day, didn't
he? It's interesting because we've seen the past few weeks they've shouldered them, or the past week that Ivan played last week against Sandringham, it was pretty even with the way they shared the ruck. Soldo was mostly forward, so he only had the 7 hit-outs there. A couple of good marks, 6 disposals as well. So they're both putting their hand up, but I reckon Marrich's game on the weekend probably has him just ahead of Soldo in terms of selection.
Now, Sam Lloyd started like a house on fire. His first quarter was sensational. He must be, obviously a fair chance perhaps to press for senior selection, get back in the side.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think so. And it was fantastic that I think it was round 1, 2016 in the AFL. A lot of Richmond fans might remember he scored a nice little goal, twirled out of about 2 tackles and then snapped one over his shoulder. I think the second goal he kicked on the weekend was pound for pound, like the exact same thing.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it was a piece of art. Fantastic from him. And really, he was the clear standout for us. 26 disposals, so he did move a bit higher up the ground as well. 5 marks and 4 goals as well. Yeah. I thought it was a really well-rounded performance, and he held his head high in that loss. So, like
he'd be knocking right on the door.
You would think so. The advantage you have with him too is that he can play tall because he can take a big mark too. So.
Exactly right. And like I say, the 5 marks there, he was marking. He was seeing them well, kicking straight as well. Really great game from him, I thought.
Any other senior guys, Corey Ellis, Ben Lennon, put their name up at all?
Yeah, Corey Ellis, I mean, the pressure was on him a bit to perform because he's coming off a best on-ground performance against Sandringham. He had the 21 disposals, 3 marks and 2 tackles. I thought something that Port were really effective, though, and this also affected Connor Menadue running through the midfield as well. They really restricted a few of our outside players, so we didn't have that outlet to go inside 50 as much as we have. So a shrewd bit of coaching there, perhaps, from Port Melbourne really got us. But still 21 disposals, you can't really knock that. Ben Lennon, on the other hand, a couple of goals, 2 goals there, 18 disposals, 7 marks as well. So he had a bit more of an influence that he did against Sandringham, where he really only had the 1 marking goal, basically, that impacted the game. So a pretty impressive one from him. 18 disposals, like I say, came a bit higher up the ground too. So getting plenty of footy and another pretty industrious shift from him.
Okay, Louis, thanks as always. You're very comprehensive. Pleasure. What's up next for the VFL?
Well, a big game coming up for us next week, or this week rather, I should say. Sorry, we're playing a curtain raiser.
Curtain raiser, yeah.
To the AFL
oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yep. Come on, it should be all over that.
Oh, I don't
Didn't you hear Club News earlier in the...
Oh, sorry, I didn't listen to Club News.
Fair enough.
He was on his phone.
No, but it is a curtain raiser. So the gates open at 3 for a bounce at 3:30, and a couple of our Tiger fans have been asking about sort of the gates opening, that sort of thing. We've got gates 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 opening at 3 p.m. And then for the bounce, obviously, and then going straight onto the AFL game there as well. So if you're heading down to watch the Doggies-Tigers game...
Back to the old days, eh?
Yeah.
That's good, isn't it?
Wow, that's
the old
great.
curtain raiser.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's good.
Should be good.
Yeah, get there, Tiger fans. The curtain raisers Saturday night. Louis, thank you.
Oh, pleasure as always, Richo.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks.
We have to give for all a man can
He's a slick operator, Louis, isn't
so hopefully, sick, did you say?
he? A slick.
Oh, he has been sick.
Oh, he has been crook as
Yeah,
well.
hopefully he can stay fit.
Hey, I want to knock this on the head now. I apologise. AC. I'm not. I've met JB. You know that. But I've got AC on the brain.
Thinking.
I've got AC on the brain now. I want to apologise for not listening to
That's
Club
okay.
News before.
Richo,
geez,
you are one of many, so I don't hold it against you.
I would have thought just the sting gets you in and you're compelled to listen.
No, it's like I automatically switch off when I hear that sting now.
You don't have a great concentration span, do you?
I don't. Okay, let's have a quick look at the Adelaide game. In fact, we won't talk about it much at all, really, but we will listen to Dimmer and just some of his comments on the contested ball on Sunday night.
We started well, there's no doubt about that. Got belted around by contested ball, second and third quarters, and the scoreboard reflected that. I think we went down in the 2 quarters by 33, contested possessions and went down the scoreboard by some 70-odd points. So the scoreboard was reflective of that. Last quarter we started to get some consistency back in that area, and scoreboard wasn't as damaging. So we just got really belted around the contest that second and third quarter, which was a difference in the game.
It was. Yeah, you don't get first use. You get smashed in contested ball. And if you're going to give a team like Adelaide first use of the footy with that forward line, you're in a bit of strife. So, you know what it is and you can fix it pretty quickly.
And also, that's why when you're in such an even season, you bank those 5 wins early. And obviously, we've got to add to that. But that's why they are worth their weight in gold.
They are. They
No
are.
doubt about that.
So you're still well in front of the ledger, but
Well, that's why we've got to stay well in front
and a
of it.
good place to start with contested ball against the Bulldogs, one of the benchmarks over the last couple of years.
Definitely.
But they've actually were off in that area until Friday night. They got it back to where they want it to be. So anyway, good challenge. What were your votes, Tone?
I gave 3 to the skipper, Trent Cotchin. I thought he was terrific. Just flew the flag all night and just hard at it. And I think he's certainly number one, clearly number one in tackles at Richmond, but I think he's like equal 15th in the comp. So his defensive pressure, pressure acts this year been terrific. So I gave 3 to him. Gave 2 to Dusty Martin. I mean, people, obviously wasn't at his dynamic
15
best.
contested possessions.
His numbers were really good. So he just, again, he didn't stop trying either, and he just thought he was really good. I gave 1 to Kane Lambert. Got a fair bit of the ball, and he just
early. He was one of the reasons early.
He was. So I just liked his game too. So
Okay, JB.
Yeah,
or AC. What's your name? JB. Sorry.
whichever. I was pretty similar to Greeners. I went 3 to Trent Cotchin. Just some, the real hard stuff that he did.
Yeah.
A couple of contested marks too, where he had to fly and go for it. So you can't say much more than that about his game. I gave 2 votes to Daniel Rioli. I thought he was really important.
Yeah,
he kept trying throughout.
Yeah, he did.
Kicked a couple of goals in the first quarter for us, and
You forget
the ball
his-
wasn't down there so much. Every opportunity he had, though, I think he made it. Made it count. And
You know what?
sorry, go.
No,
Richo.
you just forget how young he is. Like, he's just going to be so good.
How good a player he's going to be.
And 1 vote I gave to Kane Lambert as well.
Well done. I like that, JB. I gave
Right,
3
you.
to Cochin. He was clearly our best player. I actually gave 2 to Big Nank. I thought he had a real dip again. 6 or 7 tackles on the night. Took some contested marks.
Well, as you say too. I mean, he's 22. He's played 20 games,
You
15,
feel
20
like he's
games.
an old
22.
veteran, don't
Like
you?
he's not going to probably hit his peak for another 2 or 3 years. So
People need to
good
remember
player.
this when starting to criticise, as they are. And I gave 1 to Lambert as well. I thought he was really good. So our leaderboard, Dusty's still in front, but Koch closing. 25 Martin, 22 Cochin, 12 to Jack, 10 to Big Nanka, and Griggy rounds out the top 5 on 9.
are you back?
I'm back.
Are you back?
I freshened up over the weekend. I
I
didn't go to the Green Door or whatever it's called in Byron Bay. I was going to go up there, but I had to work. So I was going to go up there
That's a
and
shame.
cleanse my mind and rejuvenate
Certainly
and
need
sharpen
to
up.
cleanse your body too.
Yeah. So I'm back this week. Scones couldn't
Good.
produce. He
No,
didn't produce with his
he
yellow
was a
and
bit
black.
stiff. He was a bit stiff. What did you have, Scones, last week?
Rioli tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, most you said. Oh, he's unlucky.
He was one off.
All right.
So I'm back, and I'm going to make a big statement here. I'm going
Go with it.
with Dustin Martin to get 10 AFL PA Coaches Association votes.
Well, if he doesn't, you'll be benched again.
No, but this is I'm a
That's a tough
brave.
one.
But you want your players to
There's
be
a
brave,
difference
and
between being brave and being foolhardy.
no, I just feel
Okay, it's in your bones.
I just can sense it.
Feeling.
I
okay.
can sense
all right.
it.
Fair enough.
Last week I went Trent Cotchin to be the most influential midfielder on the ground. And
He was for us.
He was for us by a long way, but
I think
probably Rory
Sloane might have just...
Rory Sloane might have had him
How
covered.
good's he playing, Sloane?
he's a pretty
You know
handy
what? He's
player.
a ripping bloke too. You don't begrudge him.
Yeah,
He
so
obviously idolised you as a kid, did he?
No, he didn't. No, I just
okay.
like him. I just really respect him.
Fair enough.
he's on pretty much every ad in Adelaide as well. But so that's half right, but wrong. This week I've gone... This might come back to bite me. I've gone Corey Ellis to get promoted. He'll have 15 touches and 4 inside 50s.
So you've been gutsy as well.
And if he doesn't play twos, if he doesn't play ones, he'll have double that in the reserves.
All right.
Oh,
Jeez,
okay.
that's a big
Jeez,
one.
okay. All right. Well, I might go along the similar lines to you.
Okay.
I had Jack last week again after I'd gone with him to kick 5+, which he did, kick 6.
499.
And I went for him to go with a bag full again, another 5. And he started really well.
Yep.
He kicked 2, but to be fair, the ball didn't get down there much after quarter time, so fair enough. This week I've gone a little bit like you. I'm going for Sammy Lloyd to get promoted and to kick 3 goals, which he's kicked on, I think, 10 occasions already. So he'll kick 3 goals.
Louis thought he was a good chance.
Yep, and if he doesn't come up into the AFL, he'll kick 6 at VFL level.
That's going overboard.
Well, you just
I've
said
done the
you
same.
double what you said, yeah.
All right. I hope
Okay.
they all come true, because if they do, I reckon we're going pretty good. Against the Western Bulldogs this Saturday night at Etihad Stadium. One thing each, boys. What's something you want to see, or what's a crucial...
Well, I want to see
factor
Sam
in this
Lloyd come in
match?
and kick 3.
No,
That's what I
but
want to see. What's crucial? Well, obviously, contested ball is
what you
absolutely
want.
crucial that we have to get the numbers up over a consistent period of the 4 quarters.
Yes.
That is going to be pivotal.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah. I watched them Friday night before.
It's a good game,
I
wasn't
took a
it?
tumble.
Yeah, it was a
and,
ripping game, mate.
Yeah, just their run off half back as always. Limiting that is going to be the key, I reckon, Richo.
Yeah, I think you're pretty right. Yeah, I'm on the contested footy. I think we have to beat the Bulldogs in contested ball. And especially Dimmer brought it up after the game. I think they'll be red hot early. So
Do you tag Johannesen?
I'd nearly see
Would
what
Lambert go
I
up
think
to him?
that's probably something that could happen. Yeah,
Be interesting.
I'd do that.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right.
It's what we've all been waiting for, though. You've got a big one
I've built
today.
it up. I've built this right up.
No, this doesn't. What's this? Oh, but Elvis. Did you ever serenade a girl down at Josie's with this?
No, it wasn't really Josie's go, this.
Wasn't it?
Love Me Tender, no, not really. Now, you might be wondering why we've gone with that, not the Rain the Park and other things.
Yeah, why?
Well, this is going to lead into, before I get to the Richmond stuff back in 67, it was 50 years ago yesterday, actually 50 years ago today in the States it would be, May 1, 1967, that Elvis Presley, the King, married Priscilla.
Oh.
50 years ago today, and I'm surprised that it wasn't, no other media outlet has reported this, because it's a pretty big event, you know?
She's,
isn't it, 50 years ago?
She's going out with Tom Jones now, I think.
Tom Jones.
Well, that's not unusual.
Or the,
That's not unusual.
They're good with the Naked Gun movies. Just
Yeah.
on a-
Now, he had met...
good.
Sorry, this
Yeah.
is pretty good
Yeah,
stuff.
oh,
all right?
well, you get into it.
Okay, well, I'm going to get into it. It's quite lengthy, and then I've got to get on to the Richmond stuff. So he had met Priscilla when she was 14.
That's right.
Her father had been stationed in Germany or something when Elvis was... anyway, he met her at 14, and nothing untoward happened. It was all fine. And then she got married. She was 21, going to turn 22 later that month, and Elvis was 32. Yeah, they got married at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas, which I don't think exists anymore, the Aladdin Hotel. The ceremony lasted 8 minutes, so that was long enough to play Heartbreak Hotel 4 times over. That was the ceremony.
Right.
Okay. Elvis wore a black silk tuxedo and Western boots.
What does this have to do
And
with
Priscilla,
anything?
because it's a world of big event.
Right.
All right. And Priscilla designed her own beaded chiffon gown, which was trimmed in seed pearls. So she would have looked fantastic, you know. Now, the only celebrity on the guest list was the comedian Red Fox, who was the only celebrity. And the couples, the wedding cake, how much do you reckon the wedding cake cost? It was 6-tier wedding cake.
Oh, I'd say $1,000.
$3,200, which in today's money in the States is $22,000, which was more than the price of an average Chevrolet in 1967.
Wow.
Okay. Because the ceremony was held at 9 o'clock, right, in the morning, 9 a.m.
Yeah. Do you reckon anyone's listening?
Yeah, I do. I think it's interesting. The reception also featured a $10,000 breakfast buffet. Excellent book. I need to reference that, The Hay for Years, which is brilliant. But Billy Batten, you might recall that Billy's had an interrupted pre-season leading into the 67 season. He'd had a virus.
Sheeds debuted last week.
Sheeds debuted last week. Anyway, he actually returned to action, Billy, right? He played in the round one, which was Royce's debut, and kicked 5 against Essendon was on fire, and then he got injured, and there'd been a few things happening behind the scenes. Anyway, he returned to action after injury via the reserves, but he'd caused a sensation during the week when he went public, stating that he'd been rubbished by the club. And he, quote, "You can't play good football if you're unhappy," he told the media. "People say I get the sulks, but that's not so. I can have an argument, then talk to people afterwards. I think I've been rubbished by people when they say these things. I don't mind being rubbished by supporters, but not by people in the club." So this is obviously
Who was he referring to?
Well, just a few people in the club. It was just
Who,
anyway,
GR?
well, I'm not sure who exactly it was. So he'd been named on the wing for the Fitzroy game, which was the week before, and he withdrew and later denied that he'd withdrawn because Kevin Sheedy had taken his place in the centre. He's quote, "I like the wing, it is easy to play. Anyway, good luck to the kid," he said. The club called him to account on the Thursday night before the round 4 game against North, which I'll talk about in a minute, and after 2 hours, club president Ray Dunn emerged to announce the respective differences had been resolved. And then Billy was surprisingly given the honour of acting reserve captain for the day against North Melbourne, right, for the big fixture at Arden Street, but put in an average performance, and the side, interesting, lost for the first time since late in 1965. They'd had 27 wins in a row. The reserve side, including the 1966 grand final, which Royce kicked the goal after Siren won. Yeah. 27 in a row, and it was broken that day with Billy as the acting captain of the reserves. Interesting, the best players in the curtain raise that day were Barry Richardson, Michael Bowden, Jeff Strang and Francis Burke. And, of course, 3 of those went on and played in the 67 later that year, Premiership, Michael Bowden in 1969. So, just some interesting stuff. But in the seniors that day, quickly in the seniors.
This is a big one.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Yeah. 11-22 beat North Melbourne. 11-22 bad kicking again, which obviously been part
surprising because the goalposts were short.
Yeah, they were shorter. Royce kicked 3, KB 3, Johnny Ronaldson 2, and the best players were KB and your old man Bull played really well. Yeah. And Brian Lay, who was reporting for Footy Week, this was his report. Yeah. He said Alan Richardson and Kevin Bartlett were the driving forces for the Tigers with their long attacking kicking. The slippery conditions suited the Bull, while Bartlett capped off a great game with 3 goals. The $5,000 recruit Kevin Sheedy was a real force for Richmond. This player's assets are his determination and his kicking. So anyway, there you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So we learned a fair bit about Elvis.
Learned a fair bit about Elvis, and
now you got your gags.
Got a few gags.
Sabotaging this show today, having everything.
Hopefully they're up to standard. Don't think they're as good as last week, but.
Well,
you be the judge of that.
I loved you on Twitter.
Yeah,
Colin.
Good.
Colin did.
Colin, good. Okay. What do you call a bloke flying out of the ballpark?
What?
Homer. There's a mate of mine took delivery the other day, right, of 40 metres of bubble wrap at work.
Yeah.
Yep. And he asked his boss what he wanted done with it. And the boss said, just pop it in the corner. He said, it took him nearly 6 hours.
I like that.
Did you?
I did. Now you've gone to the little notes.
Yeah, little ones.
Big ones
just all over there. Where do cantaloupes go? Where do cantaloupes go in the summertime?
Where?
John Cougar's melon camp.
Oh, yeah.
There's another mate of mine.
Songs, John Mellencamp.
He did, yeah. No, well,
Paper and Fire.
Yeah.
Anyway,
another mate of mine was a trapeze artist. But he was let go. I'm not sure if I've ever discussed this with you before, but I had a part-time job at the helium gas factory.
Did you?
Yeah, but I quit because I refused to be spoken to in that tone. And another mate of mine, right?
You've got a lot of mates. I don't think you have any mates.
Oh, I don't really.
Do you have any mates?
No. No mates. No, nothing at the moment. Nothing. No. He crashed his car into a lemon tree a while back. Yeah, he's still bitter and twisted.
Oh. One more.
No, one more, quickly. Well, the late Neil Armstrong, Neil Armstrong. Okay, first man on the moon. He used to tell these awful moon jokes, and he'd always end them by saying, I guess you had to be there.
Very good, Tone. Very, very good. Thanks for listening again. As always, you're very loyal. We love your support. So get to Etihad Stadium Saturday night. Oof, what a big game. Yep. Both teams coming off a loss. It's going to be huge. That's Talking Tigers. We'll speak to you next week.
Go Tigers.